Hello there, I'm building a Nissan Patrol, with a twist. And the twist is that I took the smallest car I could find and put the biggest engine I could in it. This engine is a twin-turbo V10, diesel, and it runs and drives somewhat. And this build will hopefully result in the only car that can truly do 350 up the Mooney.
Past and making them on the back wheels.
Yeah.
In the last episode, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger, because after I chopped out more wires than were left in the car, I was left with a giant pile of this. And if I've made one mistake, this car will never run again. So let's gradually realise the harsh truths, which are not everything I do is perfect. Far from it in this case. Now it's at this point I am incredibly nervous, because I've basically streamlined this entire wiring system to the very bare minimum. And this means that if I've removed even one wire that I shouldn't have, then this car will never run again and I probably have to give up on the project. So, genuine moment of truth time. This is not good at all. Now this is obviously the worst case situation, when my worst fears have been realised, and after spending $422 on a USB cable, none of you got the answer right. It's basically confirmed what we already know. This car is completely and utterly electrically dead. Now the sad part is, I'm left with an excellent chassis, an excellent body. The only thing that's bad about it is the electronics. So rather than waste all my hard work over the last couple of years, this Nissan Patrol is going to be the world's first EV. Don't be so bloody stupid. Let's watch the rest of that first clip. Now I've just noticed I forgot to connect two earths up at the front. There's another ground there. I'm going to have to give this check over and see if I've missed any grounds. That's a bit more promising. At least there's some dash action. Stop that indicator. Oh, thank God for that. CAN bus. So naturally, all the wiring went exactly as I expected. What were you hoping for? And as you can see, the wiring fits perfectly above that heat exchanger we were talking about in the last episode, and I've made a start of wrapping all this in Tessitape. This didn't go fully to plan though. I appear to have a power steering leak. Now the good news is it's only leaking from these two banjo fittings at the top, and I know that I tightened these top ones down. So all I'm assuming is that I haven't tightened up these ones that are actually on the AN6 fitting, which would make sense because there's quite a lot of thread showing and I'm feeling a lot of fluid right there. Easy fix caused by neglect. So now I've potentially fixed my power steering issues, it's time to find my coolant leaks. I don't know if they exist yet, but I'm sure they will, based on this. But at least then I can run the car for a long time. So here's my prediction. The radiator is going to leak about there. And I can't really see any damage, but when I was drilling this hole, that horrible moment where the drill bit punches through went a bit further than anticipated, and there's a tiny little nick in the radiator. But knowing my luck, that's going to cause problems, and I will need a new radiator. But if that doesn't happen, otherwise, for now, just so you know, I've got about 10 funnels knocking around this workshop. Can I find any? No. But I'm sure they're all going to show up as soon as I've finished filling this thing up with coolant. For now, paint containers. Now that's about 10 litres, and it's still not full, but 10 litres is better than nothing. I'd say it's probably about 80 or 90% full. Another litre will probably do it, but considering this coolant is almost sacrificial, I'm just going to run with it for now. Plus I don't have any more, so I can't, and I don't really want to over dilute it with water. So, now as you can see, I am basking in the joys of CAN bus disgrace. So this is about half of what I removed from that. And now I have to deal with the entire wiring loom of the original GQ. And maybe this can add some perspective. This is about half a CAN bus loom. This is an entire regular loom. And I'm going to strip this down just so that I can use the light circuitry. Oh, there's some extras in there. It's actually smaller than this. So let's build an electric car. Welcome to my invisible electric car. Here is the steering wheel, obviously. All the controls are there. Speedo's down here, transfer case wiring there, and the lighting circuits at the front and the back. And I'm basically going to be left with almost nothing at the end of this, because all I want are the indicators and the lights. So the end result will probably be that much, after removing this much. Which is not what can be said about you. Anyway, better test it first. So welcome to my EV. It's got everything a growing car needs. Like headlights, high beams, even though you notice that only one of the bulbs is working. We've got indicators. That's supposed to be right. And that's supposed to be left. And if you encounter a hazard, we've got hazards. I say, it's getting a bit hot in here. And just in case you feel like stopping, we got brake lights too. But that is not the most important thing. The digital clock works. And you guessed it, every single wire that's now not plugged into something is going to go in this pile. And you might be thinking this is exactly like the last episode, and you'd be right. But such is life with projects. There's repetition involved. Get over it. And there is one thing that I'm anticipating I'm going to get called out for. Because I have 2 wiring looms running this car, will I need 2 keys? Yes and no. Patrol key. Touareg key. Problem solved. And this is because of the fact that in my CAN bus jiggery pokery, I've kept these modules. There's 4 of them. Guess what they are? You guessed it. Airbags. Not really. They're for a keyless entry system, which means that I don't actually need this key in anywhere to make the car start. I can just push the button. So really, this patrol one will be the only key. But you won't be able to start it without this. So they'll just live like this, like a normal set of keys. Anyway, this is a lopsided end to what may have been a relatively short video because I don't know how much footage I actually made. But I'm waiting on an obscene amount of deliveries. So this is all I can do this week. Next week there'll be a surprise.